Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Daryl Amy.
Hiring salespeople based on a resume or a great interview is like drafting players based on their Instagram highlights. They look amazing in the clips. That's until the real game starts.
Exactly. Every CEO's been there. The interviews go great. You think you're bringing a top performer onto your team, but once they hit the field, they can't close, won't prospect, and blame the leads.
That's exactly why we recommend Sales Index Unlimited Candidate Assessments. It's your sales recruiting engine that screens every candidate against 21 proven sales competencies, benchmarked against 2.5 million sales professionals worldwide. That is more than a personality profile. You'll know with confidence who can sell and who will actually do the work.
Because the best teams don't just fill positions, they build a bench. They're always scouting for great players who can perform under pressure.
For just $2.99 a month, you can build your own bench of ready-to-sell talent, coachable, driven, and proven before they ever get the jersey.
So stop guessing, start scouting like a pro.
Go to unlimited.salesindex.ai. That's unlimited.salesindex.ai and start building your next sales all-star team today. Hello and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Daryl Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, great seeing you. Another fine day here, Daryl, at Selling from the Heart in this podcast studio. We're in for a treat. We got a dynamic duo. I can't wait to bring them in.
We're going to unleash some leadership today. It's going to be a blast. Selling from the Heart, what a great time. Thank you to everybody who's listening in, the community of heart-centered sales professionals and leaders all over the world, all different industries, all different sizes of companies. It's so much fun, such a joy to get to interact with our friends on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a special shout out, Daryl, to Lindley Dell. What a great sales manager in a very heart-centered culture. I appreciate you. Keep doing great work, and we're cheering you on.
Absolutely. Well, hey, today we're joined by a husband and wife leadership team who share both a life and a mission, helping people experience great leadership every day. Dr. Garland Vance and Dorothy Wood Vance are the married co-founders of Advanced Leadership, where they've spent decades developing people-first leaders who know results always follow. Dr. Garland is the author of Getting Unbusy, one of my favorite books, and one of Forbes #7 books, and everyone, it's on the list of Forbes books, every book your team should read. You got to read Getting Unbusy. But hey, they've also got a new book together called Unleashed Leadership, a powerful guide to unlocking potential, building trust, and leading with clarity. Dorothy brings over 20 years experience helping leaders discover and maximize their strengths. And together, they've grown Advanced Leadership into one of the top 20 leadership development companies in America, shaping cultures where people feel valued, aligned, and empowered. And they're here with us today. Welcome to the Selling from the Heart studios. It is great to have you here.
Thanks, guys.
You.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, great intro.
It's so good. Hey, we're looking forward to this.
This is going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of fun.
Dynamic duo. And as we get started, this is going to be a lot of fun because we get to hear from both of you. When you hear the word selling from the heart, what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
You know, when I hear those words selling from the heart, I think about all of the things that I'm not expert in, the things that I need help in, and all of the times where I've thought, I wish there was somebody out there who could do this, who could help me, who could come alongside me and bring me the help that I need. So people who sell from the heart are those who are looking for people like me who have a need and they're there to fill it and they're there to provide a service and meet those needs. That's what I think about.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, I think in terms of that service is that key word, is that money is a byproduct, to the value and the service that I provide to someone. And so selling from the heart means I'm really looking to try to serve people, help people, meet people where they are, but push them beyond where they are. And sales is just a natural part of that.
I love this. And I know, Daryl, we're going to have a really good conversation, but we got to tie this into leadership. And I'm curious on this one. How does this all affect our ability to sell from the heart at a leadership level? Because I'm a massive believer that leaders who lead from the heart soon develop sellers who sell from the heart. What's the impact of all of this at a leadership level?
Yeah, I think at a leadership level, there are a whole bunch of different philosophies about leadership and worldviews about leadership. But at the end of the day, the best leaders are those who I think have two qualities. One is they have a vision that is much bigger than the current reality. And two, they help people and they serve people in order to help them achieve that vision. And when leaders lead like that and serve like that, then I think a natural byproduct is when their sales team and their sales people are going to live and lead in the same way.
That's so powerful. At Selling from the Heart, we always love talking about leadership because leadership and sales are so related. Leadership is influence, leaders drive change, salespeople influence, salespeople drive change, so many parallels. And so, hey, congratulations, by the way, on your new book, Unleashed Leadership. Is so exciting. Can't wait for everybody to get this in their hands. You're going to fall in love with these folks today. But I'm curious, Unleashed Leadership, like what was the drive behind that? And what's the problem you're trying to solve with the message in that book?
Yeah. So I'll take this one. That's okay. So I know there's always this little dynamic of who's going to answer this question.
Who's going to talk first?
Yeah. So we tell a story in the book of me running a race one day, and I was challenged by a neighbor to run a 30-yard race. And about the 22-yard line, as I'm running forward, I flip backwards head over heels because I was attached to a bungee cord on an inflatable, one of those fun inflatable games that you do at parties. When I got up from that, I had this moment where I was like, that's what leadership feels like most of the time. It feels like you're running full throttle, trying so hard to achieve, to get other people to achieve, to hit your KPIs and your results and all those things. And yet something always yanks you backward. And, it could be market conditions change. It could be that you get bad feedback from an employee. It could be that the stock market changes and that affects you. There's a million different things that could cause you to flip backwards. But what really began to resonate with us is the reality that the first time that happens when you're a leader, it's exciting. The second time it happens, it hurts a little bit. But by the third time, you don't want to run as hard anymore. And when that happens, when in particular the responsibilities you have exceed the capabilities you have right now, you become leashed. And if you choose to stay leashed, everybody around you is going to be leashed just as much.
Oh, this is good. So I just have to ask, what's a leashed leader look like? Describe it.
You didn't jump in that time.
I didn't.
A leashed leader is one who feels that tension of getting 2 steps ahead and then getting pulled back 3 steps farther. And a lot of things can cause that leash. It can be feeling like you've made progress only to come into a meeting where the goals have changed and the visions have changed. It can be having to hire and rehire and or not making your sales commitments. Any of these things can leash a leader. But what happens is once somebody stays leashed long enough, then the culture becomes a leashed culture and everyone around you becomes leashed as well.
Yeah. I was in a workshop recently with like 35 leaders, and I asked them the question. I described leash leadership to them, and I said, how do you know that you're leashed? And a bunch of people, chimed in and threw out answers. But one person said, the moment I start feeling like an imposter, I know I'm leashed. And I asked the group, there were, again, 35 people in the room. I said, how many of you have felt like an imposter in the last month? And 34 of the 35 people raised their hands. And I was like, okay, that's how we know. That's one of the indications we know that we're feeling leashed.
And that usually indicates there's some sort of disparity between responsibilities and abilities, that there's some development growth that needs to take place.
Yeah, so that's so powerful. Just going back to the imposter side of this, I think as sales professionals, this is something that's a universal experience, right? There's everyone who's been in sales has gotten in that meeting with a prospect or a client, and you've recognized or you felt, maybe it's not true, that, oh my goodness, I'm in over my head. I am massively in over my head.
Yes.
And
yeah,
those moments in same thing for those in sales leadership or leading companies as well. You get in those moments where you feel like you're, oh my goodness, I'm totally an imposter here. I'm over my head. Yeah. What do you recommend? Like, how would you counsel me or somebody walking away from that appointment or that experience? What would you recommend we do?
Yeah. You go.
The book outlines a 3-step process. And the first one is you just have to decide that it's important enough to you, and that you're going to commit to the work that it takes to get the growth and development that you need. The second part of that process is a discern process. Now, here's where you look back at your leadership journey so far. What are the things that have kept you leashed up until this point? And what are those things that are still keeping you leashed? And that's when we identify those 7 issues that caused leaders to be leashed. And you get past the presenting problems and you dig underneath and get that root issue up that needs to be addressed. And then finally, you deliver on everything that you've discerned. And that's where the action takes place.
I'm sitting here thinking, going, where were you all like 25 years ago when like had to jump in?
Just 25 years late.
No, but I mean, this is, I see this, this issue that just is rampant amongst leaders today is where does somebody start? Walk us through that, because, I'm thinking of these mid-level managers, these mid-level leaders are kind of sandwiched in the company. I bet you this is just rampant. So where could somebody start besides obviously asking for help? But they're rolling into somebody, and that somebody's, up top in the executive. How does all of this kind of play out?
Yeah.
And that's such a key question, Larry, because what we've seen is there's incredible leadership material out there, but it's overwhelming. And that is the key question. Leaders don't know where to start. And so what we're seeing is that with Unleashed Leadership, it gives people a starting line. Oh, that's the issue.
Yes. And so this is where I think this is the real magic of Unleashed Leadership is, in 25 years of research and of working with leaders, what we found is there's only 7 issues that actually leash leaders. And so what we do most of the time, like Dorothy said, is we look at our presenting problem. Employee engagement is down, sales are down, revenue's down, profits down, customer satisfaction is down, all those things. We look at our presenting problems and we try to fix those things rather than first looking at leaders and ourselves as leaders and saying, in the words of Taylor Swift, it's me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me. And so I can't take credit for that. Dorothy came up with that joke. It's just fun to say it. So here's what we'll do. Let us give you just a quick overview of the 7 issues that cause all of the problems. Because if a leader can, just like going to a doctor, if you can name the illness, you can identify the medicine that you need to take. And that's what we want to do. So issue number 1 is character. And we're not talking about moral character like lying, stealing, cheating, though that is an issue. But what we're talking about is leadership character. Are you willing to make the hard decisions? Are you demonstrating humility? Are you taking ownership and responsibility for the outcomes, even if you don't directly cause them to happen? Second issue is going to be competence. And competence means that the goals right now are not lining up with the skills that a leader currently has. And so the leader has to upgrade their skills and probably stop using some old skills in order to help the team get to the next level. Third issue is capacity. Capacity is all about the time, the energy, and the attention that a leader has. If they don't manage their time, energy, and attention well, they're going to get overwhelmed. They're going to cause burnout. They're going to cause other people to burn out.
There's where the getting unbusy material comes in.
Yep. The fourth issue that we see is clarity. And clarity is where a leader hasn't identified where are we headed, how are we getting there, what's each person's role in getting there, why is it important to get there in the first place. So what happens is people are showing up and they're working really hard, but they're not actually making progress toward an agreed upon outcome that they're trying to achieve. Fifth issue is community. By the way, I should have said these all start with C. Because
I'm sitting there. I'm thinking about this, Garland. I'm looking at Daryl going, oh, this is just Daryl smiling on this one.
Yeah. My dad was a pastor, so it was like we have to use rhyming or alliteration. So, fifth issue is community, and community is all about trust. It's about collaboration. It's about safety. Has a leader created a sense of safety, a sense of collaboration? And is there a sense of trust, not just with that leader, but also amongst everyone who's on the team? Do they trust each other? Sixth issue is culture. Culture is the alignment of the values and the behaviors. So if you say you're a people-first organization, but all you ever talk about is money and profitability, there's a disalignment or a misalignment around the values and the behaviors. And then the final issue is consistency. And consistency could be consistency of behavior, consistency of expectations, consistency of messaging, consistency of the vision. When a leader is constantly wavering on any of those issues, it creates confusion and chaos in the team. And so what we've found is, I know that was a long answer, but here's why this is so important, is it goes back to that question of where do you get started? You look at your presenting problems, and typically one or two of those issues, character, competence, capacity, clarity, community, culture, and consistency, one or two of those issues is the root cause of the problems you're seeing. And if you can figure out the root cause, then you can figure out how to get unleashed.
Oh, this is really good stuff. So here's a question amongst all those C's, and I know each situation is different, but just based on your experience, which one kind of rises to the top more often than not out of all of those 7?
Yeah, at the organization level, what we've seen is the most common of those is clarity, that there's a lack of real clarity on where we're going, how we're getting there, and what each person's role is in getting there. And because of a lack of clarity, then very often capacity becomes a problem because we're working way too hard, not making progress. Competence becomes a problem because I don't know how to move forward, if I don't know where we're going. And then community and culture become a problem because we aren't agreed on and aligned on something really big that we're trying to accomplish together. So of all those, I do think clarity, we've seen clarity is the one that creates or the most common one that creates problems.
Hey, Daryl, I'll give you another C word, confusion. Me being a high clarity guy.
Absolutely. And these are, it's interesting because you can just go through that list. I can see those playing out not only in my life, but also in our organization. And
that's what Larry was saying about you yesterday. Is you?
I know. I confuse Larry all the time.
That's why I need clarity, Garland and Dorothy.
If you think about this, I was just listening to that list too. For our friends who are in sales, I mean, the leadership side of it's amazing, but even for our friends in sales, like going through that list and kind of saying, okay, can I grade myself? Can I give myself a score in each one of those areas? I think would be a very, very powerful thing for our friends in sales to do as well. And we'll put all those in the show notes. You're going to grab the book as well, but like to have that as kind of a grid to lay over my, you may not lead a team, but you're leading in sales, you're leading your clients, and you're leading the marketplace. Like, how am I doing in those areas? Because, you think of consistency, you think of clarity, you think of culture, all of these things. If salespeople aren't on their game on those areas, capacity, like it's going to affect your results, and it's going to affect not only that, you're going to be frazzled. And, and that's a big problem in the sales profession as well, is just horrific habits and terrible mental health because of all the stress around it.
Yeah.
I've never thought about that, but you really have a good point, Daryl, that even if you're a salesperson who doesn't have a team, you're still leading people. You're leading them somewhere. You have a vision for them that can enhance their life and make things better for them. And you're still leading them toward that vision. So I can totally see that, how these could be helpful, resolving these issues.
It's funny just thinking about that is if you are a leader in a company, you have a team that gets paid by the company. If you're a leader of volunteers, that's a whole other level of leadership because they're volunteering. If you're in sales, it's even more challenging because you're not paying the people that you're leading. They're hopefully paying you.
Right. Yeah.
So all of that, I mean, it's a really interesting dynamic of sales when you think about it through the lens of leadership. But in a lot of ways, sales professionals, we've got to really be on top of our game when it comes to these dynamics of leadership.
Yeah. Hey, Garland and Dorothy, I got a great name for your next book. You didn't even know.
Yeah?
Unleashed Salesperson.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's gonna have to be book 9 because we actually have Unleashed Leadership just came out in October. And then we're doing one book on each of those topics.
Oh, great.
That will dive deep into the best practices that we found in our research to help unleash your character, unleash your competence, and
but that's a great idea.
Yeah, unleash. Maybe we can co-write that together.
Well, I'm curious, what else, when you think about the audience of sales leaders and sales professionals, what other, from the research that you've done, what other advice or insight could you bring that would be super helpful to people?
Yeah.
Maybe this idea of perceptions that people have of you. If you've put yourself into a leadership position in somebody's life, they're either going to see you as a villain or they're going to see you as a hero. And that all has to do with how you treat them. Are you treating people with the honor, dignity, and respect that they deserve as human beings? And it all comes back to, have you decided to become unleashed? Because what we've noticed is the more leashed a leader is, then the more likely they're going to be perceived as that villainous persona, as having detrimental effects on people's lives. So becoming unleashed it doesn't just stop with the person, with the individual person. It affects anybody that you're influencing in your life.
Yeah, we like to always say you will be a hero or a villain to every single person that you lead. And I think, especially when I think about this in sales, it's easy to believe that you're going to be a hero if you just charge less and if you give in to what the person actually, what they say that they want. And I think what we've seen in our lives, even in sales and in business, is that being a hero in the realm of sales has far more to do with meeting the needs that they might not even know that they're aware of. And you can charge a premium for that sometimes, and they'll forget about the price, or at least they won't resent you for the price if you can help actually solve the issues and the challenges that they're really having.
Oh, I like this. You know what? Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah, our pleasure.
We really appreciate it. So here's kind of a sidebar right field question, but it ties into leadership and it's directed to both of you. So either one could go first. Is when you look at this, when you look at leaders, who are some of the leaders that had an influence on you that got you to where you're at?
Mm. I'll answer one who we work with regularly. We work with we've worked with a CEO named Jeff at two different organizations where he was the CEO, and Jeff has just been an incredible example, I think, for both of us in showing us what it means to push really hard for results, but in pushing for results that make people's lives better. And so we watched him. He was in manufacturing, two different types of manufacturing, and he pushed employees really hard, but he pushed them to be safer. He pushed them to get better results. He pushed them so that if they got better results, they could go home earlier. And then he would push customers and really help customers identify what they actually needed. And we just saw him on two different occasions push people really hard, but with a heart that loved them. And as a result, the business got better and individual lives got better as well.
The first people that float to my mind when I think about that question is the incredible gift that I had growing up as seeing women in leadership. And one thing that took that over the top for me is my dad was in higher administration for a large university, and he always treated women equally as any man that he worked with, maybe even had more respect for their leadership. So I cannot even tell you what that did to me and how that shaped me as a young girl growing up, and never seeing women being treated less than or like they didn't belong in certain roles, but they had just as much to bring to the table. So seeing the men who helped rise them up, and then also seeing the women who filled those leadership positions and just showed me that there doesn't have to be a discrepancy there.
That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing time with us today. I know our listeners are thinking, I'm thinking, how do I get more Garland and Dorothy Vance in my life?
Yes. Hey, we've got actually a really cool gift for your listeners if they want it. We're going to give them a copy of Unleashed Leadership, the audiobook, for free. This isn't one of those like, pay $10 and get it for free. It's free. It's absolutely free. So our audiobook of Unleashed Leadership recently came out, and it has bonus material in it that includes about 1 hour or so of additional conversations that Dorothy and I have that aren't included in the book. Here's what you do. Go to advanceleadership.live/free book, and you can download that, and you can have a few hours of Garland and Dorothy.
That's so good.
Is super, super kind. Well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure hanging out with both of you.
Yeah, thank you all. Great to spend time with
you. I
Thank
love
you.
it. What a great conversation. We got to unleash some leadership, Larry.
No, I mean, just there's so many applicable, things around this, especially not only at a leadership level, but I'm so thankful you actually brought in the sales part of this, because I never even thought about that.
Well, and that's what I think, first of all, very kind of our friends to give us a copy of that audiobook. So you want to grab a copy of that and, and go ahead and buy one too, so you can leave a review and give a copy to the leader of your company. But this is, leaders no brainer. Like, let's do this. Salespeople, don't write this one off. Like, go through these 7 C's. And say, okay, well, what of that applies to my world? And the reality is it all applies, because salespeople are leaders. We're influencing change. And the only difference between us and the leader in your company is you don't have the advantage of having the people get a paycheck that you're selling to. You actually have to influence them, which is even more of a challenge, which means we got to lean even more into this leadership. And that's something we're committed to bringing you here in 2026. It's going to be a great year here at Selling from the Heart.
Yeah, and I'll just wrap up with one of the C words is community, and that's what we're building here at Selling from the Heart. We have for many, many years of doing this. Is we appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of our community.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for leaving reviews on the podcast, sharing it, subscribing on YouTube. All of these are helping us build this movement of authenticity and trust right here in this sales profession we all love. So thank you for joining us today. Until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, unleash your leadership, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.